Back from the dead. Back from the dead. Back from the dead.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. It is yours truly, Krystal Leandra. I hope everyone's doing well out there. This is a paranormal podcast for those of you that are brave enough to join the circle. Welcome, and I know we have some new subscribers, so thank you guys for subscribing. I've been watching numbers going up all week on our new YouTube channel. I appreciate you so much because TikTok's going great. Honestly, I'm going to actually bring in my sidekick co-host, Kat Cormier. How are you, Kat?
How's it going?
Oh man, you know, I love, see, it's so, like, there's such a stark difference, and I always say this because Elfie is like, she's so intelligent and she's like the smart brains of all of us. And like, we could both just listen to her. We do that on the phone. Like she'll go off on a tangent. We're like little kids, like watching this like ancient elder. She's probably an Arcturian because she's so freaking smart, Starseed. You know what I mean? But when it's Kat and I, man, we have like hilarious, ridiculous streams. And tonight is definitely, you know, a hilarious, crazy stream that I'm really looking forward to. My dogs are barking. I'm sorry. It's so windy in Vegas. They should stop in a second. It's been crazy windy here. How's the weather up in, you know, northeastern Canada? I'm just kidding. You're not in Canada.
That's literally what it feels like. It's fine. It's on and off cold. It like hailed last week. And then we had like a nor'easter 4 days ago, and now it's just like really rainy and sunny, and I have no idea what's going on. like I feel like April and May for New England are just like a cluster of question marks. Like nobody knows what's gonna happen until June, and then it's gonna be smooth sailing and sunny.
Also, though, the worst part of that is like for me, because I mean sometimes we get that in Vegas where it'll be like really hot, and then all of a sudden it's like raining. But I get sick and allergies when it do you get like when it stark changes, you get sick from it?
I do because of the humidity here. So like it's just sticks to the lungs. Sticks to everything.
Sticks to the lungs. So that's so confident. You're like, yeah, let's just do this, you know?
Gonna own it. Hashtag asthmatic here.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. So we are live on YouTube, we're live on Twitch, and we're live on Facebook Live, and we've also added a new stream site called Trovo. So I just want to make sure I plug that. So Trovo is an up-and-coming, essentially it's a platform that is, they're challenging Twitch is the easiest way to say it. And, you know, I'm the kind that I love social media platforms. Like you can, you know, I don't think there's ever enough. I love social media. So if you go to Trovo, Trovo, and look up Ghost Girl Diaries, we are also on there. Or you can go to ghostgirldiaries.com and look for the live section, and we are on there if you want to follow us on Trovo. It'll be interesting to see what happens over time with Trovo, since they're the first official platform to sort of challenge Twitch. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. We are streaming. I know people keep asking this, so I just want to repeat it. We are technically streaming currently on the old YouTube channel. And that's because we still are not to 1,000 subscribers. And honestly, it's because I haven't uploaded enough content on the new channel yet. Trust me, it's coming. Kat and I have had some great ideas, and there's lots of stuff that's being implemented very soon. And then once we get to the new subscriber count, we will be fully subscribed and live on the other channel 100%. But for now, we're uploading these later as a later stream on that channel. And of course, as the podcast, we passed another podcast like congratulatory number today. I got an email. We've hit
milestone?
Yeah, we've hit 45,000 downloads on the podcast. Congratulations.
What? Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, amazing. So really good. So happy about that. So thank you everybody that has stuck with me through. There was an amazing thread the other day. We have a fan Facebook group and it's a private Facebook group, and I created this last like fall. I just wanted a place for like Ghost Girl Diaries fans to like find each other. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, Ghost Adventures does it and all these other groups. And I was like, we need one. And they shared a thread in there the other day talking about where they started following me in my journey. And of course, there were some new ones. There were some people that were like, I know Kat, not Krystal. And I was like, I love it. And then there were some people that were like, I literally saw her on Travel Channel in 2011. And I was like, oh my God. That's terrible. But thank you. Like, jeez.
Stop it.
I know.
No, it's so good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's exciting. So, let's do like, our normal kind of chat first, and then we'll go dig into this topic is big. I don't even know what we're gonna do here.
I have like 8 tabs open, so like just like ready.
I'm ready to go. First of all, we're gonna touch on this topic lightly.
Okay.
Well, let's back up even a little bit further. Last week, I was talking with Elfie, and it's a huge congratulations to Zach Bagans because he has now been crowned king of paranormal, like officially. And it's what I told Elfie, like, no one can get bigger. And, like Elfie even said the next big thing he can do is literally make his own network, like Oprah Winfrey Network. So I just wanted to get your opinion on that. He's now EPing other shows. Like he's made it so far to the top. Like, I just wanted to see what you said about it since Elfie put her 2 cents in.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think after, the series that he did with Eli, I think it was a matter of time before something like this to happen. I'm kind of shocked it hasn't happened sooner, to be honest. I'm curious to see what comes next and what other shows will be produced. Ghost Girl Diaries. It'd be great.
Yeah, well, he knows. I mean, this isn't a secret. You know what I mean? Like, he knows. But, a lot of people, we talk about this all the time. Like, we'll on our Ghost Girl Diaries page, Kat helps me manage the social media side of things. And we see people making fun of Zach all the time. And it's just the irony because, I get it. People, like, think it's funny that he's always doing demons and stuff. But I don't think they realize what it takes to be a producer and a successful executive producer. And I just wanted to run that by you because you understand now the side of film. Like, people don't realize, like, you think that you're just, and this isn't just him. This is anyone that has been signed to a failed show or a successful show. How much effort does it go into creating a series? Like, this firsthand.
It's a lot. It's made to look easy in front of the camera. There's a lot more complexities happening behind the scenes, and for something that's successful to happen, everything has to be in order, and it doesn't go without the help of the people helping out behind the scees too.
It's a huge crew. And especially for him to be going on 30 seasons
and more.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to compete with that. I mean, even once Ghost Girl Diaries gets signed, because it will get signed. I do not want to go for 20 seasons. There's no way. No, I don't.
No.
I want to go on to produce other series. I even would like to produce feature films. I would even like to produce other documentaries. I may even want to later down the line get into acting later, but this is like my first priority. But yeah, like, I guess it's so funny though, because the paranormal community makes fun of him, and I do want to back him up because you don't realize, like, people for some reason think that you're producing a show and he's just turning on a camera and going. And there's so many layers to that. It's pre-production, production, post-production, which was the point of my original YouTube channel, was to teach you guys about film. Because the problem I always saw in this industry was, yes, there's a plethora of paranormal investigators out there, but 99.9% of them do not understand the film side of it. So if you're wanting to merge the two, you need to learn the film side. And unfortunately, that's where you do see a lot of these series who have failed after the first season because it was shit. And it wasn't necessarily their investigating or the evidence that they captured, but it was their film knowledge and how you're able to create a story within film and present it to an audience for it to be successful. So anyway, I just think it's amazing that Zach's, it's crazy. You're right. I agree. I think that he should have been doing this a long time ago. I think he's now an official executive with Discovery, which is the umbrella of all of them. So not just travel, but at Discovery. And I'm really happy for him. It's huge. It's huge. And sign Ghost Girl Diaries. Yeah, exactly.
And sign Ghost Girl Diaries.
And the reason why I'm merging into this conversation is we got a phone call this week.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We got a phone call, and it was a phone call that we were preparing for, which I did release a statement about this on TikTok / my Instagram Reels. So I'm not going to release any names specifically, but I will say that, for the last year, Elfie, Kat, myself have been signed to a major production company. It was, for me, if you look at the work that this particular production company has done, it was probably the largest. If you guys have a hard time hearing Kat, tell me. You know what I mean? Like, if you need it turned up or something, just say it in the chat and I'll watch you, okay? Anyway, we were signed to, in my history, the biggest production company I've ever been signed to. So I'm still proud of that. That's still something to be proud of.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
They've done major series for like ABC, NBC, like major television series. They were really sold by me. They were sold by the supernatural aspect. They were sold by me being a female in film. They just really loved my message. And they signed us. And they basically put us, this is very typical, they will put you in a year contract. And in that year contract, they will try to sell and promote you to networks. So there's the production studio, and that's who actually produces the film, which is like the producers, the creative minds, the editors, like all that stuff. Then you go to the network, which is examples, Travel Channel, even Discovery. Discovery is a bigger umbrella. Netflix, Hulu, like all that stuff, okay? So we were signed to this production company, and we were in a seller's contract for 12 months, essentially. And we got into a major negotiation last summer with a streaming company. And I will say that it is not the streaming company you think it is. It was not, there's many out there. So I can say it wasn't Hulu or Netflix, because everybody knows those are my two favorite picks. But it was a major streamer, and we ended up getting locked in a horrible contract with this streamer for, how long was it, Kat? We started negotiations February of 2021, and I think it went till October.
Months.
It was October.
I think it was like 8 months. Yeah. It was a long time. It was too long. Absolutely treacherous.
So what does it mean when you're in a contract with a network? That's very different. Okay, that's not the same. So being signed by a network is one thing, being in a contract with them is another. So a seller's contract with a network means you are negotiating with said network for a certain amount of time. It is unheard of, in my opinion, with my past working in production, to be in a seller's contract with a network for 8 months. That does not happen. Usually when you start negotiations with a network, it starts and ends that quick, because they're either going to want it or they're not, period. So we were in it was the worst experience. Poor
you. Poor me. Woo.
Poor Kat. Poor Elfie's like, and it's crazy because like, I know, Kat's been with me for a while, obviously. So this is not her first rodeo. You know what I mean? But like,
4 years.
Elfie, 4 years July. That's crazy. But Elfie, like, God, this girl she has like 68 episodes under her belt, multiple seasons. And so I love that I have Elfie to lean on, because she gets it. She gets the full picture. And I remember we're in this contract and Elfie's like, what the hell is going on? Why is this taking so long? She's like, I've never heard of this. Like, we were all just spazzing out. We were on edge. When you're in a seller's contract, like negotiation like that, they're checking your social media. They're watching your every move. If you have a pet cricket that farts wrong, you know, you're going to get in trouble. Oh yeah, it's crazy. And so everything we were doing for 8 months was being critiqued and watched, and it was the worst experience of my life, honest to God. And I've had some bad contracts, you know that, but that took the cake. It was
just nonstop. Yeah, it was.
I'm still resolving trauma from that. You know what I mean?
I'm still having some issues, honestly. So there's still some PTSD there. Okay, it's fine.
So basically,
words are very powerful, people.
I'm tired.
No. What are you gonna say about that?
Yeah, so I went from that negotiation October to like my dog dying, my mom dying. Like I was like having a full blown out of body experience for all of 2021. It was horrible, and none of you guys knew a thing about it because I couldn't talk about it till now. You know what I mean? So anyway, long story short is here's what happened was, we were in this seller's negotiation with a streamer. It was horrible. I will never negotiate with these people again my whole life because ever. I don't care if it's 10 years down the road. And it's a major streamer, by the way. It's a very major streamer.
It's just bad.
And the production company was also frustrated. It's not the production company's fault. It was not the production company's fault. It was the streamer's fault. So basically the production company, so 8 months later, I hope you guys are still following me because I know you understand film knowledge because you've been following me. So 8 months later, the streamer finally says, we've made a decision and no, we're not going to buy Ghost Girl Diaries. Well, then the production company goes back to the streamer and says, okay, we would like to repurchase Ghost Girl Diaries rights back from you so that we can now go negotiate with a new streamer or network. So they did. The production company purchased our rights back again. And we just knew after that, all three of us knew that it was so exhausting for the production company and us. We knew that they were going to drop us. We just knew it.
Yeah. It was bad. Like that whole experience was out of body and not normal. Not normal. So exactly, the call was to be expected.
Although that was your first negotiation with an actual network, so that was really good experience for you. We hadn't gotten that far with you yet, but essentially what happened was everyone was tired from an 8 month, sellers negotiate. It was horrible. It was horrible. Like, I can call my friends in LA right now that are producers, and they would be like, why did it take that long? And I'm like, I don't know. I lost an eyeball during that time. You know what I mean? Like, I lost brain cells.
Lost both. Lost both.
It's bad.
They were just rolling out of your face.
So we knew they were going to cancel the contract, and we've just kind of been sitting on stones waiting for that call. And on Monday, we got the call from our production company that they have officially dropped us from contract. And we're not shocked, though. We were prepared for this. We knew it was going to happen. I'm going to be honest and say that it was a bit of relief because now we can close that chapter and I can start renegotiating with somebody else. Here's the thing. Like, if anybody's out there and you have tried to do something for years, like I've been chasing this dragon for so long, I just have gotten used to hearing no so much that it doesn't even affect me anymore.
It's true. Well, and know how to plan, for moving forward. And, worst case scenario. So we're really not in a bad spot at all.
No, we're not.
It just was going to be what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it would have been worse if we did get signed to that network. It would have been horrible.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it. I don't
even know if we would have gotten signed to them. I don't even think we would have officially gone into production. I think they would have sat on it. And I think
been waiting.
I would have had a heart attack because I definitely don't want Ghost Girl Diaries to be a one season and done. So honestly, everything's meant to be in the end, you know, even if it's hard and even if you're going through a struggle and you're traumatized by it. Anyway, we're out of contract and I'm happy about it. I'm not upset by it. Once again, I don't get affected by being told no. A lot of people get so scared because we're trained in society to be afraid and be in fear if you hear no, or give up if someone tells you no. Don't give up. Get your ass back up again. I talked about this on social media a few weeks ago. I said, do you know how many times I have publicly failed as a public personality? Like, I have failed publicly a lot. My YouTube channel got canceled, got shadow banned, you know what I mean? Like, there's been so much happen, and I just keep getting up going. Like, you can't stop. If you're sure of yourself and you're sure of your path, you keep going.
Absolutely. 100%.
But that was traumatizing.
Yeah. I feel like I have an out-of-body moment thinking about it. Like, every time I'm just like,
is there any sort of lessons that you learned through that, you know, either personally or on a bigger scale that you want to share? No, I'm just kidding.
You know, I'm drawing a blank, to be honest. That whole experience was just really bad. You know, if anything, I learned a little bit more about marketing, to be totally honest with you. You know, that's it. That's all I learned, to be totally honest. Should never deal with that ever again.
That is true, though. We did learn about marketing, like behind the scenes. We
did learn about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
We really did.
You know, and our backups, we'll start negotiating again. Kat and Elfie just shot a freaking feature documentary in February. So
literally on a whim, and it's amazing.
And I'm not even worried. I'm not even worried. So, you know, like, you know, it's going to be fine. So anyway, we just wanted to talk about it. Yep, keep going. Thank God that's over. You know what I'm saying? Just close the door and keep going.
That crazy train's gone.
Woo!
We are at the station and we're walking the other way because
if the public only knew. Woo!
I feel like between us and the production company and the streamer, we all like were in this trauma pool. I feel like we all experienced just something really bad and we just needed to step away. I think that's just kind of what happened.
Well, I think I learned to go with your gut. Go with your gut. You know, I mean, go with your gut. And this time, you know, I'm going to be sure and sign with a production company and network who's previously done some sort of supernatural or paranormal. I will never go. I'm done. Like, I was not specific enough with my manifestations before. I wanted a really massive, big production company, and I got it. I got what I asked for. But they don't know about paranormal film. And I was going to have to go in there and train them from the ground up, and they were fine with it. So I got what I wanted, but I wasn't specific enough. And unfortunately, it was one of those things where the genre was so new for them. They were like, I don't know how the hell to do paranormal film. And not only did, you know, the production company not know how to do paranormal film, but neither did the streamer. And that was why the negotiation was so hard. Because they're like, then the streamer, you know, unfortunately, we're going to say it again, old Christian white men are like, you want me to give you $1 million for a ghost show? You know, like, what? You know what I mean? So from now on, it'll be, I want Travel Channel or Netflix still. That's what I'm manifesting 100%.
Zach Bagans. Oh.
Zach Bagans. You want to EP with me, Zach?
Tag us on socials.
Yeah, everybody. Tag us on social. Say, hey, Zach, you should freaking sign Ghost Girl Diaries. No, I really think that's where we need to be, unfortunately. He knows what he's doing.
Really.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, seriously. Like, I don't want to go in and train. I've decided. Before I was so positive, I was like, oh yeah, I'll train the production company and crew on paranormal film, you know, night vision, editing, you know, all that stuff. Audio is really important. I have Ben and Jeff, who are my audio and audio mixer and my video editor, and they're great. And they'll train you, you know, but no, it's too big of a project. This time I've got to freaking go with somebody that already knows what they're doing, because I just don't want to question it at this point. It's just stupid. And what was the other thing that I said that I learned was the trauma that I learned. There was a lot of it. Yeah, marketing. We learned a lot about marketing. We learned a lot about ourselves. Marketing. Manifest very, very specific. Manifest very specific.
We learned a lot about ourselves.
Kat, are you okay?
Yeah, it's just getting hot. It's just getting very hot.
I want to share your trauma because I think people will laugh. Okay, because
Okay.
your face.
Feel free to share. That's all you. I'm not sharing.
Okay.
Share.
So here's where Kat had like a heart attack. Yeah, no, I want to be a travel channel. Trust me. Trust me. I'm done. No, my knowledge ain't free, ho. Okay, like I know what I'm doing, but I don't have the time or patience anymore. I'm getting older. I need to get this shit signed and move on with my life. Okay, like that's my feeling on this. Okay, so yeah, travel channel is exactly where it's at. But basically, we had to come up with a list of locations is what happened, okay? Sorry, I shouldn't laugh at you, Kat. I'm sorry. So...
Really thinking about it now, though. It's so silly. They put us in a tizzy for no reason.
Yeah, but it's funny. I'm sorry.
It's so... Okay, realistically, folks, I just want you all to know...
Her Aries is out.
I'm just putting some little tidbits before she finishes. My TikTok handle before it was just Kat Cormier was Spellbound Salem because I live in New Hampshire.
I'm crying,
literally
Kat.
an hour.
Someone just said leprechaun foot. I can't. I'm just crying.
Oh, come on, people. Okay, that is another piece of trauma at a haunted location. Okay, the energy of my foot is left in Jerome with that color is what it really is.
I'm still convinced it was a leprechaun. Okay, I'm still convinced.
Well, you know what? My foot disagrees. My left foot, more specifically, disagrees. And now that I'm thinking about it, how did it bend that way? Because I have no idea. Literally have no idea.
You're having ghost pains again in your foot. Okay, sorry.
I do. I get literally, I have ghost pains every time you talk about it. So bad. So anyway, my TikTok handle was Spellbound Salem because I frequent in Salem. I still do. It's an hour from me, literally. Talked about all the time, whatever. So on one of the locations list, without saying what it is, there's a location in Salem.
No, just say it. There was. We came up with a faux list of locations for season 1, and Salem was on the list.
And Salem was on the list. So, keep in mind my handle and where I'm located, and now you can continue. Okay, it's fine. Continue.
So we have this faux list of locations that Elfie picked 4, I picked 4, Kat picked 4. Of course, Kat picked the Salem location.
Of course, I picked Salem because yes.
Elfie was like all over the place. She had some really good ones. I picked indigenous locations, including skinwalkers. Of course, I did. Let's go to the Skinwalker Ranch. But anyway. Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea now after what we experienced in February.
Yeah.
So Kat has her name is Salem. She lives East Coast. She loves Salem content. And it is funny. It's not funny. I mean, now it's funny. It wasn't at the time. So
now it's funny. When it was happening, it was not funny.
She went to Salem and she filmed a couple of really great videos. And one of her videos happened to get like 1 million views, right?
2 of them. Literally 2 of them. So I had, mind you, of course, I would never film at the location. I did not film at the location. I filmed at a couple of small businesses. It was like the Salem Witch Museum and something else. Mm-hmm. And both videos, I don't even know what it was, went to like 500K and growing within a matter of like 2 days. Mm-hmm. And that's how I grew my following to where it's at now at a little over 8,000. I wasn't expecting it, but
while we're in negotiations with the network. With the network happened.
While we're in negotiations with the network. Yeah, so now you can continue.
So she's getting triggered. So I'm
so silly.
I'm happy for her because she's got, it was an accidental video. You never know what's going to go viral or whatever. But now remember, when you're in negotiations with the network to sell the series, they're watching your every move. So they see that Kat went and filmed in Salem. And she's gotten 1 million views on a couple of videos. And now the
matter, it was not the location.
It wasn't
matter, it wasn't at the location.
Coincidence, accident, just anyway. Yeah. The network had a meltdown. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, they lost their shit. And essentially, the long story short of it was they had concerns of me being a producer and knowing info.
The-
because that's
I'm laughing because that's not who Kat is. Yeah, I know.
No, and of course, like, when group chat was going on, even Elfie was like, they do know her handle is Spellbound Salem, right? They know that she lives an hour from Salem, right? Like, it was really bizarre and silly. But when those things happen, it catches you off guard because they were really mad. And Krystal was in that meeting and got the brash of it, and I was like sobbing.
Poor Kat. But I tried to handle it so delicately with you, and I called you and I was like, well, she's like, what are you doing? I was like, sitting in my bedroom in the dark, and she's like, why? I was like, it was a really bad meeting. It's like really bad. Basically, their thought and I'm only sharing this so that people understand this side of film, because we're in, this isn't even production company negotiations. We've already been signed to that. This is network negotiations. Basically, their concern was if Kat has a list of the locations before we filmed, she's going to go film there and post it on her social media before the season approaches. So, I mean, in a way, you can see where their concern was. You do see that. But you're right. It wasn't the exact location.
And we weren't in official contract with them. You know
well,
what I mean? Like,
preliminary.
It was preliminary.
Yeah. But that's the problem, and that's why I wanted to share it, is that when you're in these negotiations with these networks, what they say goes, period. And
they don't care.
They don't care. They do not care.
They don't care you live an hour away. They don't care about your handle. They don't care about your intentions. It happened, and they were like, shut it down.
And then she changed her.
And I painstakingly did. I did. Oh my god.
No, I didn't tell you to. I told you to like private them temporarily or something.
Right.
And you were like, no, I want to. Just like, oh my god. I mean, it was just, but it's crazy. My point is that when you're dealing with these executives who do have millions of dollars, you're right, they don't care. They just don't care. They're like, do you want the money for your series or not? Essentially is what they're saying. And it was trauma. It was a lot of trauma.
I was sobbing for like days. I was sobbing for days.
Well, yeah, because they made you feel like it was. I was so delicate with Kat. I swear to God, I was. Did not want you to take it personally.
It wasn't her. No, it was it was just the fact that they were looking at my stuff.
Well,
it's one thing to hear that they look at your stuff, but then when they bring it up in a meeting, you're like, oh no.
Well, it wasn't. I think what you were upset about was it wasn't only you at stake personally, because they did recommend me removing her. Okay. Which is not going to happen over my dead body. I was like, well, just close the negotiations and we'll move on to something else. But basically they said, well, then we'll just shut the whole series down. And so it was just a mess. And so then I think that's where Kat felt guilty, where she thought she was causing all of us to suffer. And Elfie and I are like, no, calm down. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? But it's weird. But I do have to say, though, experiencing that was really good for you. Because that was your first official, negotiation with a network. And even Elfie was like, they are tough as nails. They don't care. They just don't care.
Yeah. Yep. That was apparent.
That was
really apparent. Yep.
So moving on, here we are. And now
moving on, we got it. We made it. We survived.
It is. That's why we're like, okay, this negotiation, we're done with that. It's behind us.
Please don't shoot me. It's fine.
I would always I will be open to negotiating with Hulu and Netflix, but nobody else, and Travel and Discovery, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And that's it. So yeah, who we were negotiating with was horrible. And so moving on to that was the end of that, and thank God it's over. And my 2021 sucked. How was yours? No, I'm just kidding. Then your lizard died. My God. Okay.
Lily passed away. It was so sad.
God, can we just move past all this dark shit, honestly?
We're about to walk into some more dark shit with this topic.
Now it's time for the paranormal tea, right? Now it's time for the paranormal tea. Well, I mean, that was some tea. Yeah. That was some good tea. Anyway, I know a lot of people have been messaging, asking me if I'm okay. With the contract ending, I'm fine. I'm not upset. It's not the first time it's happened. It doesn't mean it's going to stop me from going. And thank you guys for being so supportive online. Oh, let's talk about social media really quickly. TikTok's kicking butt. And I haven't even really been posting well. over this last week was kind of weird, but we're already at almost 13K. Holler. It's going up.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we've had a couple of viral videos on there. One went up to 37K. I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. TikTok's so random though. Like you never know. Like I usually batch a bunch of content and I'll post like 5 to 10 videos at once on Ghost Girl Diaries TikTok. And you never know what's going to go. Isn't it weird how the algorithm works on there?
Yeah.
It's just unpredictable.
It is. And there's no telling what's going to happen. There really isn't. You've just got to kind of post and then just get off the app. And then see what happens.
I have a video on there that I posted like a week or two ago, and it's of me like making fun of like when I was a cheerleader and I was like alt and I didn't fit in. And it was only at like 200 views. And then today, out of all days, I don't know why, it's up to 19K. And I'm like, it's like a 7-second video. And I didn't even take... It's not even good. You know what I mean? It's not even good.
People are weird. Yeah.
So anyway.
It's so funny.
TikTok's weird.
Hey, run with it.
I guess. Whatever.
It's exciting.
Yeah, except then you get the trolls coming on and they're like, were you one of those girls in school? And you're just like, thanks for boosting my algorithm. So
yeah. I'm going to like your comment and not respond, but thank you for your engagement.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Ghost Girl Diaries TikTok. So it's at 13K, which when it gets to that point, you're starting to get a lot of people, comment and follow you, right? We have made it as a paranormal TikTok. We've made it onto Christian Talk.
What?
Remember?
Wait a minute.
Because there's people coming on there telling us that we need to read the Bible.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, that is true. Oh, my gosh. I was monitoring the comment. I was looking at the comments the other day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I skip over them because religious trauma. So you can go through like those ones.
No, I'm not. But we don't block them. But there's people that but that means we've made it. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to block it out.
We made it on a Christian Talk. That's true.
You don't want to block it out.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you need it. Mm-hmm. Even your haters aren't your haters; they're your biggest fans. You know
I
that.
don't know about Christians, but I mean, look, okay, we're not going to get on that soapbox again.
Kat is going to get on her religious box, and then it's over with for the night.
We're not.
We do have another spiritual box to get on now.
We do.
And it is called the Ayahuasca. Why do I keep... Okay, I had a stroke earlier. I was driving earlier, okay, in Vegas. I'm serious. This is a real story. I was driving on the highway. I was in the middle lane.
Actually driving.
And I'm living in a higher elevation now in Vegas because I live on the mountainside. And I think that my body's not used to it. I was driving and my ear popped in the back of my head. You know what I mean? When that feels like. And my equilibrium went off and I thought I was going to wreck my Jeep. And I hurried up and got off the highway because I was dizzy. And
it's not funny.
I was laughing. It's not funny. Oh. Not funny. And I started talking out loud. I was like, "Bitch, are you okay? Bitch, are you?" I'm driving. I've got "Bitch, are you okay? Make it pull off the road. Don't get a wreck." And I started slurring my words. I swear. And Kat's like, "Do you smell burnt toast?"
Make sure she wasn't having a stroke. Okay.
So no, I didn't.
It was a legit concern.
I didn't have a stroke, but I am having a hard time saying ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Why am I calling it ayahuasca? Yeah. Anyway, ayahuasca. Is that right?
Ayahuasca.
I was saying it fine until my stroke happened behind the wheel.
There was no stroke, folks.
No, there wasn't.
Seriously.
No, there wasn't. Seriously, everybody calm down. It's fine.
Everyone's fine.
So we heard about this started kind of blowing up through social media, predominantly through Megan Fox and MGK. But once they kind of came public with their discussion on their experience with this, which we'll talk about it. So I know if you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll cover it. And we started doing research on it, not only watching other people, their experience that they put on TikTok, but also we started watching documentaries on it. And shit got real weird real fast, I feel like. You know what I mean? So okay, first of all, I'm going to state this. Ayahuasca. Did I say it right? Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Yeah.
Ayahuasca is a plant that you can ingest in native indigenous cultures, predominantly Central America and Southern America. Okay. It is technically considered a drug, which is why you can't get it here in the United States. I'm going to state this first and foremost, and I'm going to keep repeating it through the stream, and so is Kat, okay? We are not promoting this in any way. I am not promoting this. I am wanting to talk about the spiritual practice behind it. And of course, you're going to get Kat and I's opinion on it because we have a lot. We have a lot of opinions. But yeah. Well, and I think that's why I wanted to do research on it too. And I think you did too, is like, there's all these people promoting it on social media, and should they be? You know what I mean? Like, you're promoting people to go to retreats and literally like ingest a drug that causes you to hallucinate for up to 12 hours. And it's supposed to be this like grand spiritual experience. So anyway, now let's talk about this first. What was your initial opinion, just not doing research, on what ayahuasca was before you researched it? What did you think it was?
Just like an intense hallucinogenic, like that had you go into like a deep trance-like state,
like a meditative.
Like a meditative state. Which honestly, like, I mean, it's not a complete comparison. I guess it's not a really good comparison, but like when you think about herbs and, you know, hallucinogenics, I think of mugwort. Mm-hmm. You know, using that in my practice. I don't ingest it or put it in any, you know, my tea or anything like that, but it helps with dreams, helps you remember dreams if you have like a dried bundle of mugwort above your bed or underneath your pillow. So I just assumed it was something of that regard.
Similar.
That, you know, you ingest it.
Yeah, same. I mean, I saw the interviews, which we're going to talk about all that stuff too, in case you're not familiar with what's going on. And once again, I've literally had people's TikToks pop up on our page talking about their spiritual experience with ayahuasca, and, you know, not always pleasant. And I was just like, what is this? Like, I feel like, you know, if it's making a round on social media and it's really becoming this big thing to the point where people are actually traveling out of the country to be a part of these like indigenous tribes and retreats and like have this grand spiritual experience, what does that mean? And why are you doing it? And Kat and I were kind of caught off guard because we hadn't done research on it, obviously. We were just going off MGK, Megan Fox. I love Megan Fox. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Megan Fox. Love her fashion, by the way. Follow her designer. Her stylist is amazing, which has nothing to do with hallucinogenic, but at least she looked fabulous while she was doing it. You know what I mean? She looked amazing while she was vomiting. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good time. Go, Deb.
So we started doing this research, and you and I are shocked about it because. And I have all the notes in front of me, so if you see me like reading, Kat's doing it too, because there's a lot to cover here.
A lot to cover.
There's a lot going on. I want to strip it back to what it really is. So essentially, it is an indigenous plant, and we'll go in depth on her. It's literally a her. Okay, we'll go in depth on that. It's an indigenous plant that it's in several parts of the world, but most people fly to Costa Rica. It's available at some retreats in Mexico. It's also in South America, predominantly Peru. And when you go to these retreats, you are overseen by a shaman. And it's usually a shaman that is very well versed in this herb, this plant, okay? And essentially, it's described as having 10 years of therapy in one night. And it can be considered a healing journey where, you know, I would say it's like doing shadow work, right? Like we promote shadow work all the time, except instead of you doing it yourself, the herb is doing the shadow work for you, essentially. So if you have any demons, whatever that is, you know, Kat and I have talked about our generational curses and other people's generational curses, you know, like massive trauma, like if you were a child and you experienced molestation, like massive trauma, they promote this plant that if you go, you know, to this shaman and take it, it will help you undo the damage that you've had. There's another side of it that I've heard because I'm in a friend circle with veterans, okay? And the veterans will travel to these locations who have depression, anxiety, PTSD, sometimes even like bipolar, and I don't know if schizophrenics have tried it before or not, but they claim they claim
can't imagine.
Jesus, they claim that if you go to these locations and you partake in this retreat, that it can actually heal depression, anxiety, PTSD, all this stuff. Now, you're not supposed to take it with your antipsychotics.
Right.
And this is word of mouth. I've actually talked to veterans that know this. So you have to literally wean yourself off the antipsychotics for 6 to 8 weeks. Go completely unmedicated somehow to the middle of the Amazon forest and pray to God that you get there, and and then go ahead and go through your ayahuasca therapy. You know what I'm saying? So the main, I'm sorry, we're gonna laugh a lot through this because it's just this is strange.
It's bizarre.
It's strange to us.
We're not laughing at medication or mental illness.
And we're not laughing at the indigenous tribe either. We're laughing that, you know, the process, okay? Just the process.
It's just very cooling and teeter-tottering on the edge of insanity, but it's fine, you know?
I want to start, I'm going to let you tangent to in a second. I just want to say one more thing. So essentially ayahuasca is a organically grown herb, right? And it has, it contains something called DMT, which has also been going around that some shrooms contain, like having a DMT trip, okay? A DMT trip, it's also known as Dimitri, which is weird because if I had a son, I was going to name him Dimitri. Now I can't name my son Dimitri because it represents DMT, okay?
Okay, but like, I think of Anastasia.
Really?
Dimitri was
That's
like,
creepy.
oh man, he was such a like a big crush, such a big crush.
See, if I had a son, I wanted to name him Damon, because of course, I wanted to name him Damon, and I wanted to spell it like the demonic way, Daemen, like weird Damon, you know what I mean, or Dimitri, or together. But now I'm like, can't do that. Anyway, DMT is it's a psychedelic drug, and it basically is like LSD, and it's in magic mushrooms. Okay, once again. We are not promoting you taking this in any way. I would never say that. And if you're going to ask me if I would partake in this, I would never partake in this because I'm a control freak and I do not like to feel out of control. I've never tried drugs. So, and definitely would not try LSD. I have witnessed people, though, on some of these drugs. So we'll talk about that later in the stream. But, so Kat, you got really into this. Because you are, Hispanic. So you are, you have Hispanic indigenous genes. You've had the DNA done. And so you didn't realize this had such deep roots going into this. When you see, I want you to summon up the MGK interview on Jimmy Kimmel and the Megan Fox one. Because when you see their initial interviews, you don't realize it goes as deep as it really does. So I think we should start with where I think this started getting so highly promoted because of MGK and Megan Fox. Do you?
I do. So Megan Fox and MGK were interviewed like 6 months apart from each other talking about their ayahuasca experience. Mm-hmm. Megan Fox brought it up first. This was back in like July of 2021. She explained that she went to Costa Rica with MGK to drink ayahuasca, and she thought it's so bizarre, but she thought that like drinking tea with indigenous people was going to be considered glamping. That's verbatim like what she said in the interview. She wasn't expecting to like be in the middle of the jungle and walking all these miles to get to their destination and be with 20 strangers and like literally have nothing. Because that's what ended up happening. She said there was nothing glamorous about it. She also said that when they got to the location, which was in this random part of the jungle, that they were not allowed to eat past 1 p.m. and they were with a group of strangers. And the reason why you're not allowed to eat past a certain time is because the ayahuasca herbs and plant makes you very sick, can make you very physically ill. So, the folks that were running the retreat wanted to make sure that nobody got sick and they weren't allowed to eat past a certain time. Now, on top of them not being able to eat past 1 p.m., they also had to like re-empty their stomach. It just gets really nasty. And they had to literally empty everything out of their stomach, is what she said. So they were so there's a group of 20, and they were lined up in groups of 3, is what she said, by the river's edge, and they drank lemongrass tea until they literally vomited everything out of their system. And she said it was and it was strange the way she mentioned it too, because she was like, it was a very strange bonding experience. She said it was bonding.
That's one way to say it.
Yeah, she was like, we were cheering everybody on for like getting sick and like, because we were getting ready for this ritual, and I'm like, this is messed up. Like, this is like a horror movie in real life. Like, this is nuts. And she said that it helped. She said that her experience with ayahuasca was a 3-day retreat, so they take it for 3 days, or 3 nights, excuse me. Helped where therapy and hypnotherapy didn't. So she was already in the process of trying to get the help that she needed, and she felt that it didn't meet where she needed it to be, so she went to, this retreat to take ayahuasca. So that was her experience. Now, she also said that her first day of taking ayahuasca, it was great. It was butterflies and rainbows, really, really beautiful experience. However, the second night, she said that she was literally like stuck in hell.
She said she traveled to hell and could not get back.
Traveled to hell, and she couldn't get out, and she was terrified. So when the third day happened, MGK talks about this in his interview, which I'll explain in a second. That like she wanted to go home. She's like, I can't handle this. She's like, I can't go back there. I can't go back there.
Now wait a second. The retreat. This depends on the retreat. So someone said you have to follow a special diet. Some places, yes. Some places, no. Some places say that 6 to 8 weeks before you travel to Peru, you have to be only on a vegetarian diet. But some places don't care, and you can show up still with Taco Bell in your stomach, and you're going to be shitting your brains out. You know what I'm saying? From ayahuasca. Or something.
No. Okay.
So, but, okay. She said she traveled to hell and could not get out. So some of these retreats are a one and done experience because we researched it. Some of the retreats, like the one that MGK and Megan went to, is a week-long experience. And you have to go every day for a week and ingest this, because they believe that each day that you ingest it, the more demonic entities that you're purging from your shadow self. You're basically purging your shadow self. So by the third day, you're saying she could not go back.
She couldn't handle it, and she did end up staying and doing it and dealing with it. But she said that she left feeling weightless and a different person. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting with MGK's interview because they were both interviewed at Jimmy Kimmel. So Jimmy actually was the one that brought it up to MGK, who had an interview this year talking about it, because Jimmy had questions based off of Megan's interview about their ayahuasca experience. So he went, everybody gets in line to take their tea before they go to sit down, and they take it as a group. And
this is the ayahuasca tea, the actual ayahuasca.
This is the ayahuasca tea, yeah. And the shaman looked at MGK and told him, quote, "You have a big shadow of darkness around you. You need more." And proceeded to hand him 4 cups of ayahuasca tea, which is I just feel is just very dangerous, considering one cup is enough to have somebody go into the depths of hell. I can't imagine 4. Mm-hmm. It's like a medical concern there. I'm just a little, it's questionable. So he stated it was a really important moment in his life. To have that experience, and that he also felt extremely changed leaving that retreat. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because Megan seemed to be the one pushing to like go and experience this, and MGK wasn't. Mm-hmm. And I'm very curious. I think he might have been given a little too much. Okay, is kind of my guess on that. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine being handed 4 cups of tea. What?
No, I'm just... the tea, and we watched documentaries on this, multiple documentaries. Most people, it makes the tea is pungent, it's bitter, sour tasting. Once again, depends on how it's steeped. I don't know. I'm not down there. I have no idea.
Root.
It's a root, and also, I mean, I'm just gonna be real. Like, they're in the depths of like the middle of nowhere, Peru. It can't be that sanitary. And let's just be honest, you know, going out there could be deathly ill from E. coli or something on top of that. You know, I'm sorry, I'm just being real. And you have no idea what's been in that pot. It's probably no soap, you know what I mean? But most people that drink the ayahuasca get violently ill after they drink it. Like they said in these few documentaries, you can tolerate it in your stomach. Once again, you're fasting or you've puked up, you know, anything that's in there already. So now you're like totally on an empty stomach. This ayahuasca, they said it's horrible. It's pungent, bitter, gross. And literally within 5 minutes, 90% of people vomit it up. And you're actually handed a bucket when you're at this retreat, when you sit down to like experience this, and most people just start violently vomiting it up. Now by this time it's too late because the root of the DMT has already gone into your bloodstream. Especially think about your stomach, like that's a direct route right into your bloodstream. You know what I mean? So you might have thrown it up, but it doesn't matter. It's too late. You're already on experiencing this. There is a shaman that's usually involved with these retreats, and the shaman will usually start singing some sort of an indigenous song depending on the tribe that you're with. And what I saw on the few documentaries was they are leading you into the other side, was literally how it was worded. So you're experiencing a paranormal spiritual journey while you're hallucinating, essentially. And we're not done yet. Don't think we're done. This is the first part of it. We're not even halfway done here. I'm not even a quarter of the way through. You talk about her as a divine feminine and how she's worshipped.
Yeah, so I know in all of the documentaries, it was stated that it's believed that there's a resident spirit that lives inside the plant.
I'm sorry, just wait. I need you just to wait a second.
Okay.
I want you to repeat that, but because I want to make sure everybody hears that. But also, someone just said I'm a germaphobe. I can't do it. Me too. I am. I'm a freak. I have OCD. I have problem. Cat, you know I do. When you come to stay at my house, I clean constantly, don't you? I am a clean freak. I'm a psychotic clean freak. I have dogs. I'm a clean freak. I am constantly cleaning, which is why I wouldn't be able to take it, because I'm like, is that pan clean, yo? Like, did you scrub that with some Dawn soap? Don't you worry, I brought some.
I was gonna say that. I was like, do we use some Dawn? Do we use hot water?
Is there running water? No, there's no clean water. Oh, can you boil some? Like cook that? You know what I mean? So anyway, okay, wait. Seriously, I know we're laughing, but seriously, this is important. You just said there is the indigenous tribes, and this is worldwide, this is not just one tribe, believe there is a female spirit that is ayahuasca.
Yes, it is believed. This is what I wrote down from the actual, like, word-for-word documentary. It is believed that there is a resident spirit that lives in the plant that's seen as a personal therapist that guides you through your shadow journey. She's known as Mother Ayahuasca, a divine feminine energy, and the first woman of creation. And they literally refer to the plant as she. So, like, she is given to them to help heal them. She is made in this way. That really fascinated me. That really fascinated me.
So the plant itself is a she. It's a being. It's a creature. And even if you don't believe this, it doesn't matter. Because the indigenous people that have been holding the sacred for God knows how many hundreds of years, even if she isn't real to you, she has been created by these indigenous people. So you are ingesting this spirit. And you guys, you know how serious I am when it comes to paranormal. I believe she exists. 100% I believe she exists. Because I told you about this concept that I did at the Stanley Hotel. Caffeinated Christy and I should be best friends because she said I hate camping too and I have control issues.
I love camping. I do love camping.
I like glamping. To me, camping is in a hotel room. I need an outlet for my flat iron. You know? I also need room
Depends on the
service.
from the car.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, no, I would stay in like a fancy RV, but I'm just not. I'm not a. I don't sleep on the ground. That's not something Krystal does.
No?
Okay.
Aw.
No, sorry.
I don't mind
This
it.
ayahuasca thing would not work for me. Sorry. Just the truth.
Not today. Not today.
So, you know, there was this thing we did at the Stanley Hotel, which was enough people started believing that this little girl haunted the big office at the Stanley Hotel. It's an office building, massive. There were no entities that were in there previously. After we started getting hundreds of people on tours to believe there was a little female spirit, guess what started coming through on the spirit box? A little female spirit. So you're telling me that they've named this divine feminine, which is a very massive title, by the way. That is like of creation. She is a divine feminine female that houses this plant of Mother Ayahuasca. You're ingesting something seriously sacred here. Like, this is a worshipped, not only plant, but like being. You could almost call her a goddess that you're ingesting. And,
Literally, the
and
resident spirit.
the fascinating thing, though, is that Kat and I were researching this more, like, because we were just going down a rabbit hole with this. People that have had experiences taking ayahuasca truly believe they've spoken to Mother Ayahuasca.
And there were shamans that were on this documentary as well, explaining what the feeling is like when you take the ayahuasca and you take her in, is essentially how they were wording it, is that, you know, she guides you through your shadow journey. So whatever shadows you have or traumas that you're removing or releasing from your life through this tea, they said that it physically pains people on their skin sometimes too. Like, it feels like their skin is being ripped because she is physically removing that trauma from your vessel. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So they sometimes feel their skin even. It's not really. But
Caffeinated
like,
Christy
you know,
said cool. That's all. She's like, cool.
What'd she say?
All she said was cool. Jesus.
That's but it's true. Like, it's legit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I believe it. I believe it. I'm not saying I don't believe it.
Too.
I'm just saying I would rather do shadow work for 5 years. I'm good.
I'd rather go to therapy. Personally, I'd rather go to therapy.
No, there's a lot, and I don't, you know, if somebody wants to do this, you get it, boo. I'm not I don't care what people do with themselves. You know what I mean? Like, is it something that I'm interested in? Absolutely not. Is it something I respect 100%? Just because I do believe in the other side and all this stuff, you know. But let's start tearing this apart because it's what we do. Because this was Kat and I on the phone. We've talked for days about this. First of all, let's start with this bitch right here does not have a gallbladder, okay? I cannot eat a lot of food. Seriously, there's a lot of food I can't eat. It will make me physically sick. I get chest pains. They call them ghost pains. Like when I don't know if anyone that's watching has ever had their gallbladder removed, but it causes chest pain when your gallbladder goes out. So if I eat the wrong foods, it causes serious chest pain. I throw up. And yeah, I've had the occasional IBS problems. And I know we all have IBS problems. You eat the wrong thing, man, you're in the toilet 5 minutes later. It's just a human thing.
Bad news bears.
So
it's bad news bears.
So so my question is like, okay, so you're throwing up, you're emptying out your stomach. Now you're going to take ayahuasca. Now you're throwing up again. What if you got the sharts?
What? Yeah, what happens? Do they give you what if they give you a dress or something? Because what if it's both ends?
A dress? What? A dress won't hold it in. You would need a diaper.
No,
not
I know, but it would need somewhere to go, is what I'm saying.
In the dress? A dress has an opening at the bottom.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's just you need something to just go. You need an opening for it to go somewhere instead of your pantaloons. You're in the middle of the jungle. No one's going to give you a diaper.
So wait, you're telling me that there's 30 to... Okay, some retreats are very small. If you're trying to go to the MGK retreat with 10 to 30 people, very expensive. If you're going to a bigger retreat with 80 people, so you're telling me there's 80 people sitting around vomiting with each other and shitting themselves? Can you imagine the stench of throwing up lemongrass tea, throwing up ayahuasca, and sharding. That would also make me throw up with 80 people. My God.
They are probably.
I would just ask ayahuasca to take me with her right now. Just cross me over.
Please just take me.
Now I have more trauma from this ayahuasca, okay? Like, help me, bitch. Like, Jesus.
Well, you know what it is, though? And I don't know why I just heard this, but I heard ego. It's like ego death.
You mean the
Like,
toilet part?
Like, well, yeah. Like, meaning, like, it doesn't matter what happens to your vessel. Like, that's not the point. Is probably what they're thinking. Is, you know, within the ritual. But within our human self.
Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. I'm sorry. So you're saying when you shit yourself, your ego's coming out? Is you're detoxifying yourself?
Like, as in, you're self-conscious about it.
Whoa, I guess.
Meaning, like, yeah.
Even if
like,
I was hallucinating, I would still be upset. Okay. Can you imagine?
Well, no, I mean, I would be too. I'm just saying in general, like, I'm sure that their reasoning behind it is to, like, let everything else go. Like don't be self-conscious.
Yeah.
Don't think about it.
Let
Like,
it
it's
flow.
A spiritual experience.
Let it
like,
flow.
literally, let it flow.
All orifices, 100%. Just let it go.
Every orifice. Yeah, every orifice.
And, you know.
All set. I mean, I personally am all set. I would not want things coming out of my orifices after a tea with 80 people. Okay.
No, that would be my, like, you know, it would, you know, I'm the one, like, literally, I'm not even kidding, my doctor, I have this endocrinologist that I've been going to for years. I love him, by the way. And, he's a specialist. He's the doctor I've talked about that, he swears he's treated, like, people at Area 51 and stuff in Vegas. So anyway, he always laughs at me because he's always like, you always get the, like, 1% bad, like the worst case scenario that can happen to you from taking a medication always happens to me every time. And like that would be me in this jungle. Like I didn't hallucinate, I didn't throw up, but the IBS was another problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're right.
Honestly, I don't know if I'd make it, to be honest.
Well, okay. So anyway, I mean, so, no, like I'm serious. Like I'm painting a picture because I want people to really think about it. Because I feel like, you know, some people don't realize like this could cause more problems than what it's worth. You know what I mean? Like Jesus, like and you know, and once again, we don't know how. I do have OCD. I am a clean freak. You don't know how it's being cooked. They say that it's only 2 to 3 ingredients depending on the tribe that's creating it. You don't know what's in it though. You don't know how it's really being created. You're not there. And obviously it should be respected because it's, you know, an indigenous herb. I'm indigenous, so I respect it. Where should we go next with this? There's so much to cover here. My God, it's just, we covered the poo-poo soup. We got the poo-poo soup done.
Yes.
That really does scare me though. Like that would be my greatest fear is just like, you know, what if you're in the middle of the
Poop.
No. Jesus God. If you're in the middle of the Amazon and what if it's not just the shits? What if it's not the Hershey squirts? What if it's you accidentally got some, for me, I would have gotten some like random intestinal, you know, parasite and I have 2 hours to get to a doctor and I'm 3-hour boat ride out from the city. Like that, you know what I mean? Like that's what would scare me is the weird shit.
Honestly, what would scare me is I'd probably go out like alien style with like a spider on my face and like that's my worst nightmare. Like that's literally my worst nightmare, okay?
Well, and you know what? Can I just say like Kat and I have been through some shit together, right? Like she's my sister, period. She's not my friend, she's my sister. And we've gotten on each other's nerves, we've fought, we've not talked, who cares? You know, it just happens. But like, you know, my mom died, her lizard died, like we've had trauma we've experienced together. But I can say with uttermost confidence that I do not want to stand by you at a river holding your hand, vomiting up lemongrass tea.
No, that doesn't sound like a fun afternoon. That tea party is messed up. I don't want that tea party.
Forcefully throwing up. I don't like to throw. I don't like to be sick though. And it's, to me, this is a lot of work to go through 10 years of therapy in one night. My God.
And it is. And this is like our opinion. You know, this isn't us poo-pooing the ritual itself. Like, you know, it's a legit It's a pun intended. You know, it's not. We believe it. We
yeah.
believe in ayahuasca, and like we believe in all its properties. We're just saying personally, we probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't.
No.
And we're spreading awareness as to what it actually is, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and if you're not ready or don't know what to expect when you get there, like, this could have some deadly circumstances here, like legit health issues.
A lot of people that I've seen talk, other than, Megan Fox said, I traveled to hell and came back. But a lot of people make it look glamorous. And that's why, and I think that's why you and I went into this thinking it was like people taking shrooms or something. And so we were just like, oh, it's just like a hallucinogenic tea. We didn't realize like it's like a ritual. Like it's an actual ritual.
Yeah, it's a legit thing. And here's the thing, though, too, and this is what was mentioned in the documentaries, is a lot of these shamans and, people that are helping run these retreats is saying that a lot of these people are coming out to experience ayahuasca because of the visual aspect of it. So they think of hallucinating in shrooms probably, and they think it's like, oh, it's just another like trip, when it's really not.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really not. And that's a really big amount. That's a really big thing to leave out, especially, if there's a health concern. And a lot of the times, some people might have it glamorized because they did have a good experience. Not every experience with ayahuasca for certain people is all bad. It depends on the person, which is also why it's kind of scary, because you just don't know what you're going to be handed.
Well,
you have no idea.
I've watched a few, like quite a few. I would say 10 to 15, more 15, probably about 15 people experience like what they went through. And honestly, only one or two of those were good. Only one or two of those were good. Yeah. And that includes Megan Fox saying one night was great, the next night. Most people say they literally hallucinated for 12 hours to the point where they knew that, like, the tea had digested whatever that they didn't throw up, but they still couldn't stop hallucinating. So the hallucinogenic factors just kept going and going. And then they said that they tried to get some sleep in the middle of the night. And then they got like paranoia, fears of like hearing, like rustling in like the jungle, which I would be so paranoid. That's why I've never done drugs. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think this is hilarious. Okay. You and I were laughing. No, it's funny. So we are really into astrology too, obviously, because of, it's just part of the paranormal, supernatural, spiritual journey that we're on. And Kat and I've talked about this. I'm a Cancer rising, and I'm very true to my sign. I'm represented by the moon. I'm an Aquarius moon, which is, Aquarius is known as being one of the more intelligent signs. And I get crazy sometimes with my thoughts. Kat knows that. Like, when I get ideas, right? Like, and most of them are good, but man, my brain, you don't know how it works. You really don't want to be in there.
You know her Aquarius moon is in play when she calls you and she's like, Kat,
I have an idea.
I have an idea. And I'm just like, all right, Aquarius in the house. Go ahead. Shoot.
And then I'm a Taurus sun, which I feel like my Taurus sun, like, I also have an Aries stellium. And I'm sharing this because I think that this is going to be a factor in what we've talked about, and Kat is an Aries sun. She's a Scorpio rising, so she'll shank you in the appendix, okay? And then she's a Libra moon, and then she also has an Aries stellium. So we both have Aries stelliums, okay? That's why we get along so well. Poor Elfies, like, they are so loud. I just can't handle it. Jesus.
Sorry.
Now, when you're doing a certain ceremony like this, in my opinion, this is very personal. So this is your moon sign, right? Like, is that how you feel about it? So your Libra moon would be out, and my Aquarius moon would be out. So I want us to talk about this, seriously, okay? What would you think that my Aquarius moon would be like on ayahuasca?
You'd be paranoid as hell.
I would.
I can already seeing you. I can already see it. I feel like you'd be like,
I'd be like, oh my god, I have a list of things that's going on. And then I would be trying to control it, because that's when an Aquarius is a fixed sign. I would be trying to control it so bad that it would probably make the hallucinations worse, honestly.
Yeah, and then you would want off. You would want
Get
off
me
the
off.
elevator. Okay.
Get me out of here.
Get me off.
Now, with your Libra moon, you would be like...
My Libra moon's so just like, I just like balanced, you know? So it could go either way. But I also just feel like, I feel like I'd be paralyzed.
You'd just be laying in one spot.
Just be like,
I'd be like, Kat, are you okay? And she'd be like, everything's gonna be fine. As she's like seeing demons like with wings come out, like, it's gonna be fine. That's what she'd be saying. Hold on.
just, my Scorpio rising would kind of be thriving though. I'd be like, oh my gosh, dark things. Fine.
My Cancer rising would be suicidal. I'd be like, let me end it. Let me just end it. I'm done. I can't do the hallucinations anymore. It's true. No, seriously. That's why I know this is something that's not for me. I am a control freak. My Aquarius moon is a control freak. And I would be trying to control the hallucinations and it would not work. And that's probably why I've never, done drugs before. I do want to talk about that too, though, is I've talked about this publicly before. I have, my mother's side is indigenous, and my grandmother was born and raised on the res. She escaped poverty and went into college. And unfortunately, even though she escaped poverty, those generational curses still go down the line. So what I'm talking about is my family is on something called the Dow's rolls. And my family, my bloodline, my lineage escaped surviving the Trail of Tears, which is a really big deal. But the problem with that is that whoever survived, there's just a long line of, in my family in particular, substance abuse. In fact, I'm the only sober one on that side of the family. And I've never done drugs. And I haven't done drugs because I grew up seeing my entire family having these horrible generational curses of just generational trauma passed on from one, generation to the next. And I grew up at a very young age. I think I was like 14 or 15, which is very young. That's a very young age. And that was the first time I saw my cousins hallucinating. And they took all kinds of different drugs. Like, a lot of them did get hooked on meth, unfortunately. Some of them are still alive doing meth somehow. I don't even know how. 15 years later, they're still kicking.
I have an uncle like that.
Yeah. And but they would do hallucinating, drugs and all different things. And they tried everything. And of course, they always tried to peer pressure me into it. And I would always be the one with my mom running to save everybody, drowning in a creek. Like, I literally had a cousin one time that was tripping with her friends inside of a, it's not a creek, what do you call that?
Like a river?
It was like an underground tunnel system. I'm trying to figure out how I could explain it.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, they have a lot of those in Colorado, so it doesn't flood, because there's lots of rivers and lakes and stuff. So sometimes people will go down and do drugs in these tunnel systems, and they asked me to go pull my cousin out, and I had to go get her. She was tripping out of her mind. And I was the young one. I was 14 or 15. My cousins are all older. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and it's like, God, get your life together. And there's a reason I've excommunicated myself from all those people. But when you see people hallucinate at that age, like, you're so little, like, you're 14, you're really impressionable at that age. And you seeing people having these horrible trips, I think that if you knew what it looked like, you would view something like ayahuasca differently. Like, yes, I respect it 100%. I believe it. I believe it's real. I believe that it can help people. I believe that it's part of the indigenous tribe. However, these indigenous people have been practicing it for hundreds of years, and you have these white Westerners going in, and I'm sorry, I don't think you know everything. I don't know if your body can handle it because it's not part of your DNA lineage. And, just seeing my cousins hallucinate, it's a horrible sight. There's a story that I want to tell, about a friend that I had that was hallucinating, just to kind of paint a picture if you've never seen it. I had this friend, I was actually dating this guy for a very long time. We ended up living together, so it was in my 20s. I loved him. I was like in love with him, thought he was like the one. He was the first Aries that I ever dated, and it was just like, you know, I love Aries men. Like, he was it. Like, I was like, he is the one. And I was really close with his sisters, and they were younger. And his sister, one of them, was going to school at CU Boulder, which is Colorado University Boulder. It was probably a 45-minute drive from me. I lived on the west side. And she called me, it was like a Thursday night, and she goes, I don't want to tell my brother because, you know, which was my boyfriend. She's like, I don't want to tell him, he'll kill me if he knows I was doing drugs. But I snorted something, and it ended up having like something in it. And I've been hallucinating for hours, sitting on my dorm room elevator, and I've been riding the elevator up and down for hours. And I said, well, first of all, how did you call me? And she's like, I don't even know. I can't see anything. Like, everything looks like a fake world. Well, she said that every time, I said, can't somebody, how have you been on the elevator for hours? You know, like, I'm not sure. But like, hasn't someone tried to get on the elevator? Yeah. And well, they're college kids, so they probably don't want to get each other in trouble, you know? And so anytime someone would walk in on the elevator, this is what she said verbatim. It looked like a flying ant demon. So like a giant ant with wings coming at her. And she was scared to death for any of them to touch her. So literally no one was taking the elevator, and like they'd go to get on the elevator and she'd just start screaming bloody murder. I don't know how she was riding there for hours. So I drove up to Boulder, and she had told me, like, you need to warn me before you get here because she's deathly afraid of anyone that walks towards her. So I got to Boulder, I got to her dorm room, and I got to the elevator, and it's the most horrible sight. She's sitting in the corner of the elevator, screaming her head off, having these horrible visions and hallucinations. And I opened the door, and there were some people that were there with me, and I asked them to hold the door for me while I could get her out so that no one else would, you know, call the elevator. And I said, I'm here. I'm not going to say your name because I don't think she follows me, but I'm not going to say her name. I said, I'm here. Do you recognize my voice? And she said, yes, but you look like a flying, you know, demon ant or whatever. And I said, I need you to shut your eyes, and I'm going to drag you out of the elevator. And I drug her out of the elevator by her feet. And I got her back to her dorm room, and I watched her for 12 hours. And it was the most horrendous sight you've ever seen in your life, hallucinating. She still doesn't know what she snorted, what was in it, because people probably mixed things in there. And she thought she was going to die. And I was scared I was going to have to call 911. I told her, if you start having like sweats or labored breathing, I'm calling an ambulance. She didn't want to get in trouble. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you can probably get arrested if you're on drugs or something. And, but I said, I will if it gets to it. But somehow she made it through the night. But I was literally, what a Cancer rising thing to do. That was always my job as a Cancer rising. I was always the mother, always taking care of everybody. And my point is like, I get concerned that you get two celebrities like MGK and Megan Fox promoting something like this, which is okay. And if you choose to take it, it's okay. But understand what you're getting into, you know, like, and with that being said, Kat, let's talk about that next, is you have a female divine feminine spirit who is attached to this herb the indigenous people believe to their core. You're ingesting this female spirit. No matter what, you're going to have a massive spiritual experience. And you're saying that this spirit is attached to Mother Earth, and you're a white Westerner who's going to ingest this female spirit. What have white male Westerners been known to do to the planet? Destroy it. And you're going to ingest Mother Earth? Let me know how that worked out for you.
Yeah, that's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
If I was a male, I would be scared to death to take that plant, honestly.
100.
Especially a white male. Because she's not only going to make you pull out your own trauma, she's going to make you pull out generational trauma that you may not have even known that your lineage was a part of, which is also destroying the planet. The scientists just said we have, 3 years left till the planet, we're in trouble? And you don't think she's going to hold a white Westerner, responsible for that. We're the ones with the money, with the greenhouses, with all the green gas, all the problems. So I'm just saying, people aren't thinking, because on a spiritual level, like this shit's real for sure. Would you take it?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Me?
No.
You wouldn't take it?
No, I wouldn't.
So talk about your research with the indigenous tribes because of your Hispanic heritage.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because I've been wanting to learn more. We've done a podcast about it, talking about curandera. And curandera is a Spanish word for healer. So in Mexico, it's like, it's used for like traditional healers depending on the source. You know, it can sometimes have a negative connotation as being called a witch doctor in the Latinx community, but they really are spiritual healers. They're really vitally important figures within the Mexican communities. So they, you know, curanderas, just to give like a little outline here, they perform like a variety of duties ranging from ritual cleansing called susto to herbalist and psychological consults. So I got my brain thinking, I wonder if curandera or curandísimos are part of the ayahuasca rituals within their communities, because from what I had watched and heard about, you know, ayahuasca was more of like Amazonian tribes and, you know, South America as well and all of that. But I wanted to figure out if there were rituals or retreats with curanderas watching over and helping perform with ayahuasca. And there are. And actually, surprisingly enough, they claim curanderas, that it's best that whoever is interested in taking ayahuasca or having that experience and drinking it, do it through a curandera, mainly because they take it. I mean, not that other indigenous tribes don't take it seriously, but to a curandero, they put it into a more intimate, smaller manner than throwing you in the middle of the woods or in a jungle to take this tea and just like best of luck to you. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's not as sacred to them. However, they, you know, portray that or work that in their tribe is there's really no right or wrong, I guess. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that within the Latinx community and curanderas and how vital they are within their communities, they say that there's a better way to do this in a more sanitary manner, I guess, which means like smaller groups in a well-ventilated room with a lot of people surrounding you, major support.
I'm sorry, you said well ventilated. I was like, why would you need ventilation? I'm like, because people smell like poo and they're vomiting lemongrass.
They're getting sick and they're in the middle of this like humid, hot jungle.
Oh God!
And, like, you know what I mean? Like
farting. You're like you're all farting up a storm, like farting ayahuasca. Oh God, Jesus.
Oh God. So you know, it's hard because. You know, because then curanderas get a really bad rap of like, well, you're not better than anybody, or, you know, this and this and that. And that's true. Like, nobody's better than anybody. They all have their own practices and preferences. However, when you're bringing Western people or white people that have no idea what the heck's going on, you know, within this ritual practice, especially if not a lot of people are being informed about what's going to happen, they just go there to experience it and then it happens and they freak out. You know, it would be best to be in a better, more well-maintained atmosphere when going through this experience. Mm-hmm. And curanderos claim to do exactly that. So I just found it really interesting. I just found it very, very interesting because, you know, ayahuasca is anywhere within those communities that practice it. And of course, they don't talk amongst themselves. They all have their own practices. But the undertone is the same, meaning it is spiritual. And, you know, Mother Ayahuasca is the divine feminine energy that is attached to this plant. They just every indigenous tribe has their own way of practicing the ritual in itself. Mm-hmm. No two are going to look the same. So for me, like, I feel like if I were going to go and experience this, I would probably go to a curandera and have that experience. Because they are also healers. And a majority, because you have curanderos are males and then curanderas are females, a vast majority of curanderas are female. And I like that, especially if it's a divine feminine energy that you're working with. You want to work with strong women within your circle or that are surrounding you, understanding what's going to happen. I feel like it would just mesh nicely. It's interesting, though, because in the documentaries, it was all like white men running these retreats.
Yeah, we have a lot to say on that.
It was the strangest thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just the strangest thing to me. So that's really all I had on that. It's just very interesting seeing the links in between curanderas and other indigenous tribes and other shamans and how they performed this, because it was like a totally different way it was being portrayed through, Mexican communities rather than Amazonian tribes, and how they handle it. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just interesting to see both viewpoints with the same undertone of healing and ridding you of your shadows.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, I want everybody to know about the Good Samaritan law. If you see anyone tripping on drugs, you can call an ambulance and you won't get in trouble. I don't know. Does that exist everywhere? When I was sharing my story, by the way, that was literally 15 years ago. So that wasn't something that happened recently. And I didn't know if that existed. But I mean, I was a young kid too. I was a 23 or something. You know what I mean? So, anyway, thank you for that. If that's the case, I don't know. I'm not really promoting drugs on here, so I hope nobody's tripping.
Nobody trip right now, please.
Nobody trip. Nobody get diarrhea. Nobody fart. Everything's gonna be fine. Ayahuasca. I want to define this really quickly, and then remind me. We're going to talk about the marketing side of this too. So ayahuasca is called Yage, Y-A-G-E. It's a psychedelic brew of various plant infusions prepared along with a vine, which is what Kat's been talking about. It's fast growing and it's also now internationally popular, which is why everybody's going into these places. Also, Kat, remind me, I want to talk about the good psychedelic effects that we've heard, people, and the bad psychedelic effects that we've heard from watching these. Mm-hmm. It's either mixed with leaves that contains the DMT that we talked about, or it's leaves from this other plant. So you can take one without the DMT. However, if you're wanting to visit with the mother, you have to take the one with the DMT. Indigenous people discovered these properties in the plant, and they're not sure how or when. There are fights that go on between the tribes because some people say it started in Amazon. Some people say it started in Central America. So what Kat found out while she was researching is, since she's Hispanic and that's her culture, they actually don't like it that the Amazonians use it the way they do. They have a problem with it. So the Amazon people claim that they've received instructions directly from the plant spirits on how to create the ayahuasca, and that's how it is created. So if you're wondering what the recipe is, and who... because a lot of people ask, like, what is it? How was it made? They don't share that. A lot of people claim that if you're a traveler and you're in these countries such as Costa Rica, Peru, even Mexico, quote, tripping on ayahuasca seems to be the new cool hip thing to do, which I think is the problem here. You shouldn't be You shouldn't be going to have a trip. You should be going if you think that you're needing some sort of spiritual experience. And
yeah.
I don't know.
I had a quote from one of the documentaries. So there was a documentary on Gaia. It was like 13 minutes, and it was called The Eye of the Needle. And at the end, the man who went to go and like film his experience, he said, quote, ayahuasca, just like blanked on the word, ayahuasca could never be a recreational drug. It's a medicine of the indigenous tribes here and an ancient method of therapy still mostly undiscovered by the Western science. Respect all things natural. Mm-hmm. End quote. And I find that very prominent because he does have a point in saying to respect it, but it is something that's still undiscovered by Western science. So to me personally, like, I just don't think that this is something that should be going viral.
Well, it's
I
also
think that this is something really sacred.
it's strange.
You know?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's because you're Hispanic and you feel that. So I totally agree with that statement. And because I respect my indigenous is Cherokee. We have shamans, but not anything like this. It's hard because I think it's being promoted as like, you don't need to go to therapy, you don't need to do shadow work, you don't need to do self-help. You should just go take ayahuasca one night and you'll get it all taken care of. And I think that that's like kind of a pussy way out of like not dealing with your shit. I don't know.
It's dangerous.
Well,
it's dangerous.
Yeah, it is. But it's like, you know, everybody has trauma. I've talked about that before too. Like, nobody doesn't have trauma. Like, you wouldn't be a person if you didn't have trauma. We all have our own trauma. And it's just weird to me that you think you can just go take a tea and then you're fine. But like, what happens? So you have the good trips and the bad trips, right? So you have the people that the good trips are like what Megan Fox experienced, butterflies, rainbows. I've heard people literally say they go into like troll communities and they see trolls.
Mood.
Yeah,
Like
same.
Euphoric.
Literally.
Leprechauns.
Stop it.
Leprechauns.
Yeah, I don't need to hallucinate. See why I don't need to hallucinate? Just go to Jerome or the Stanley Hotel and you're good to go.
Hang out with Krystal and I. Let's do Leprechaun.
Leprechaun foot.
Leprechaun foot.
So the good experiences are fun and they're these colorful things, and then like they have these creatures that come talk to you. They're like, can you imagine if that's how therapy went? You have this like mystical creature that's like, Krystal, I
Like
heard
those trolls with the hair.
I heard your mom was murdered. Let's talk about it. Okay, like it's just not. It is, and like if you think that's the real world, like you've got something wrong else. You know what I mean? Like, and then you have like the experience like Megan Fox had, which is, and some people just see colors and like shapes and like geometric stuff. But the problem is they literally can't sleep because even when you close your eyes, you're still seeing all these shapes. Can you imagine just trying to be like, I've been drunk before where you go to sleep drunk and the room is spinning. That's just bad enough for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like,
no.
geez, stop spinning. But then the bad ones are like really bad, and they literally say they feel like they've gone to hell. Like Megan said, a lot of people we were watching said that they've had literal demonic encounters, and they'll come out of it and talk to the shaman, and the shaman's like, oh, it's not a demon, it's just your shadow side. Dude, if I have a demon attached to me, that's a serious problem. Okay, it's like a serious problem. So I mean, it's weird. You're back and forth on like which side is it. So we watched this one particular documentary where this guy went to Peru, and it's kind of a boring documentary. So it didn't have very many stars on it, but it was because he was just showing his authentic journey on to this retreat. So he flies from America to Peru. He goes into downtown Peru, and wherever the city he was in, and you can buy ayahuasca on the street. There are people that sell it in flasks in Peru. Did you see that?
For $6 in U.S. money.
$6.
Literally.
Yep, you can buy ayahuasca.
$15 in their money.
And so he bought one, but he didn't drink it, but he took it with him. Which, God, is that pungent? Yeah. Like, that has to be musky if it's been sitting down there in the heat, you know what I mean?
And if it's hot, yep.
Growing bacteria and shit, you know what I mean? You wonder what your IBS is from, bro. So then he, like, takes a cab to, like, the edge of, like, this river, which I think was that the Amazon River? No, it was somewhere else. This was a different one. Yeah, we've seen a few documentaries. I'm sorry. So he takes a cab to the river where he has like established a boat waiting for him to pick him up, and it's a 3-hour boat ride. And I'm not talking a glamorous boat here. I'm talking like it's a little canoe. It's a canoe with a half-made engine on the end of it, and it's a 2-hour.
Dog.
The dog was adorable, by the way.
The dog was adorable.
And 2 hours on that canoe, little teeny ass canoe that looked like it was gonna sink. By the way, did you see that? Like that freaked me out.
Did on the back? Yeah,
yes, I was like, oh,
like everyone's gonna fly back.
He's not gonna make it, bro.
Gosh.
He's not gonna. The canoe ride alone was dangerous. Okay, like Jesus. And he, once again, this is a lot of trouble. A 2-hour ride. Just start therapy, man. So he gets to this like, and it's just like desolate, middle of nowhere. honestly,
Nothing.
are there tigers and shit? Like, let's be real. There's got to be, like, gators and crocs, right? I mean, something's going to eat you out there, you know?
Some weird Sasquatch out there. I don't know.
And
There's something funky.
there's a skunk ape. There's a skunk ape.
Please.
That's crypto. Crypto in, like, swamp areas is skunk apes.
Yeah.
This skunk ape's like, dude, there's a bunch of white people tripping on ayahuasca again. They're all just friggin' asleep, like passed out. Oh,
Literally.
so
No.
this
No skunk ape.
the
near
skunk
me.
ape's like, humans are stupid, man. So right. So
Also a mood.
he goes into this ceremony. First of all, they then cut to the guy that's running this, and that's where Kat and I about died. You're in the middle
We're
of
just
Peru,
like-
and it's this white British man who owns the retreat and owns all of this ayahuasca fields, okay? And he's literally talking that he's making thousands of dollars per person coming to do this ayahuasca retreat. It's expensive. Like, it's expensive retreats. If you want smaller groups of people, like 10 to 30, it's very expensive. Like, I'm talking, you'd have to be making a salary of $100,000 a year or more in order to go. For these bougie-ass places. But it's this white British guy in the middle of Peru running an ayahuasca retreat? How the hell did you get here, man? From Britain? Did you take a boat?
How is your blue shirt ironed so well?
Yeah.
I have some.
Oh, yeah, he looked...
know?
Yeah, you
You're
see,
like a swanky outfit.
You see the poor people of Peru, like, I mean, like, poor, money-wise, poor, and this, like, clearly well-off, crisp, ironed, blue shirt, British white guy who owns all this area, and he's taking the money from, and I was, like, dead shocked. I was like, oh my god, this is a marketing scheme. Like, I'm not saying that ayahuasca is not legit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's some wrong people making some money off of this. And, I mean, that was the first thing you were pissed about.
I was like, what is happening here? I feel like this is really just not right. There's something not right happening right now.
How did he get down there? Seriously, how did this old white British dude get down there? In the middle of
You
Peru?
never know. And he never said it. I don't know.
So anyway,
They're the
he's
strangest
taken
thing.
all this money from all these people. It's like a 10 people encampment. They're all sitting around drinking this hallucinogenic tea. He calls in his friend that's the shaman. The shaman starts singing the song. He wasn't able to record the actual ceremony, but he had like the audio on, if that makes sense. And like his phone was like tucked in his pocket, he said, because they didn't want anyone being videotaped, probably shitting themselves or barfing. And, which I wouldn't want to be videotaped either, okay? Please turn your phone off, okay? We're about to have a serious IBS problem and I forgot to bring toilet paper, okay?
I'm about to have an explosion. Please don't put this on TMZ, okay?
I'm crying, Kat.
The last thing we need right now.
It's so
okay?
bad. Woo! This is bad. This is bad. I doubt they have toilet
bad.
paper. Honestly, they probably just use leaves down there. You know what I mean? Like, there's no
no,
running
no,
toilets.
no.
There's no toilet. There's a hole. You know. So
Is there? Just have some concern.
So he says that he I'm scared, bro. I'm scared, bro. Okay, like, jeez, woo. It's making me sweat thinking about it. Like, God.
I know, me too. I feel like I'm empathing.
There's like
my
10
eyes
people.
are burning.
There's 10 people sitting around drinking ayahuasca, and he's like, I literally hallucinated for 12 hours, and he was like,
That was it. That's what he said.
He was like,
That's all
I
he
didn't.
said.
He's like, I didn't meet ayahuasca. I don't know who that is. I don't know who the hell that is. He's like, all I know is I didn't sleep, and he was like, the only thing that I got out of this was colors seemed brighter the next day. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's like I woke up and I saw the world in a different light. And he was just like,
Because you were hallucinating all night, bro.
Honestly, he might have still been hallucinating. To be totally honest,
Jesus.
because that stuff is like
Oh
potent.
my God.
Potent.
So anyway,
It was bizarre. It's just very bizarre, but it's not something that's.
and
native to
he
here.
said he threw up, and he said he heard everyone vomiting around him. Everybody vomiting. He's like, I don't think not one person didn't vomit. And you're right. If you're hallucinating, like in all seriousness, like I want to talk about it. If you're sitting there hallucinating for 12 hours and you have to shit, seriously, how are you going to get up and run to somewhere if you have to? If you're hallucinating, where are you going to go?
You're not.
You would have to go there. You would have no choice. I'm sure it happens.
Nope. I just don't want to think about it. We're just not going to think about it.
Don't take your new pants from Macy's. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they'll get ruined.
Oh my gosh.
Get ruined.
So the last one was marketing you want to talk about?
Well, yeah. What do you think about these people making money on this? I mean, so, okay, I want to talk about it. So some of the cheaper resorts, I have it pulled up. So there's resorts all over the place, depending on where you go. There's literally lists of the best ones that we've been told and we've been reading the most expensive bougie resorts are Costa Rica, which is where MGK and Megan went. Obviously, we're talking about they're multimillionaires. They have actual retreat houses that you can stay in. So I'm sure it's crazy expensive, especially it's usually like a 7-day thing. It's like a 7-day retreat.
It's like $10,000 or something.
Minimum. It depends on the days that you stay. Now, if you're looking at one of the cheaper ones, it can cost between $300 a day to $600 a day. But God, I feel like it's one of those things that you get what you pay for.
True. Or
right?
Do you?
Or do you?
If it's a lot of money, like, I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing. If it's being respected as like an indigenous plant, are they respecting it by allowing all these people to come in and like hallucinate for days on end? But yet they're making people pay all this. You know what I mean? Doesn't that sound strange to you?
Well, it's, energy is real, and your energy transference is real, okay? This divine being that's attached to this plant as well might have been manifested, might have not been. Who knows? And I just have it hurts my gut, no pun intended, to think about such a sacred ritual within indigenous tribes and them allowing, Western white man to come in and just experience it for the trip and for the money. I just feel like that's just bad karma, or bad juju to do that. I feel like this is something that should be well researched, well read, contracted. Here are the health concerns. Here's what this is. Please take this seriously, and not just seen for like the dollar. But then it's the other side where it's like, a lot of these areas could use the finances. Could use the money to help those that are around them. So it's like, where is the line?
Not a white British man in Peru, though.
Well, but other ones that might not be headed by a white random British man in the middle of Peru.
Right.
It just makes you question. It's hard. It's a hard thing to discuss because it's personal at that point. It's personal to those that are experiencing it and to those that have had it within their indigenous roots for so long.
Another thing is, I don't know if you can die from ingesting too much of this. I don't know if you can, I don't know. And once again, it may not be ingesting that kills you, but once again, like I said, is there bacteria? Is it clean? Like, let's be real. Is it clean? Like there could be, something else that kills you, and we won't hear about that. We're not going to hear about who dies, and then if you're a foreigner there and you die from something, even if it's not the ayahuasca, what do they do with you? Like, are you supposed to go with a will? Are you supposed to have like an advance? Are you supposed to have a power of attorney there? Are you like, how did they get your body out of there? And honestly, I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
They're just going to throw your body in the river. I mean, how else are they going to get your body in the middle? You're in the middle of Peru, in the middle of nowhere. How are they going to get you home? I don't know.
No, they're not. And here's the thing too: is we can't find any reports on any types of severe health crises or deaths that occurred, and I just know in my gut there has to have been people that have died from this.
Something.
I mean,
And I know there's going to be people say, oh, well, I've taken shrooms or I've done this and it's never killed me.
Right. This is not shrooms.
What if it's not the shroom, though? What if there's a deadly bacteria in how they're cooking it and you're from a very blessed country where you don't have to really worry about that kind of bacteria because you're able to use Dawn soap daily where they are not able to. And you know, you think Taco Bell was bad.
Well, and oh God. Well, and allergies.
Yeah.
Allergies.
Yeah, true.
What if you're allergic?
Oh my
to
God.
the plant and you don't
I
know?
didn't even think about that.
Can you imagine?
Wow. I didn't even think
This is a legit thing. Like, you know, you can't just be a random Joe Schmo coming up and wanting to get a trip on ayahuasca. Dude, it's going to hurt you. There's going to be some issues. And it's hard when there's such a sacred bond to it and a spiritual experience with it to not have that energy of, like, it's disrespectful. Like, why are you walking up in here and we're welcoming you even as a tribe in the middle of the jungle? And, like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, it's just...
I would like to comment on that just from my tribe, which I am registered with my tribe. Obviously, my grandmother's right off the res, you know. I respect my heritage hardcore. I know I'm white with blonde hair. My natural color is black. I'm in the sun for 5 minutes and my skin is dark. I hide from the sun because it doesn't match my hair color, you know, and you know, hashtag skin cancer. But I know my indigenous family and I've always respected them and I've passed their policies down because my grandmother, I got all of the artifacts, you know, in my family. They were all passed to me, which are really important from the Trail of Tears. But I know that in my indigenous family, if this is something they were practicing, they wouldn't allow outsiders in. I know that for a fact. So that's the part I find strange, which you're right. They probably need the money in the communities. Is probably one of the most driving factors, but it is strange. It's just, I don't know. I'm just weighing all the factors because of how my Aquarius moon brain works. You know what I mean?
It's true. And it just makes you beg to question, like, are some forms of gatekeeping
okay?
You know, especially with something this potent. That doesn't seem to be overly well explained as to here's what's going to happen. Here are the ingredients in it. Here, you know, it's a concern. It's a concern. And with it going viral and it being Earth Day today, happy Earth Day.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's important to weigh all the options and see and hear other people's experiences instead of just seeing it on TikTok and then going to the middle of Peru and having an allergic reaction to ayahuasca. Mm-hmm. And you're stuck there. You know what I mean? Like, this is real life. This is a thing. This is not a trip. This is an experience, and it should be taken seriously. Don't believe what you see on the internet. Don't believe what you see online. Which is why, you know, we wanted to do this, was to spread that awareness.
No, and I find it fascinating and interesting, and I'm definitely a believer in this. And if it's something that you want to experience, don't let Kat and I, you know, stop you from doing it.
Yeah, you do you.
We just like to analyze things. You guys know how we are. This is just what we do. But, you know, I don't know. There's so much to wrap your head around with it. There's so much, you know, if you were to take it, let's just flip the other side. And which I'm not promoting it because I can't do that on my streams. I'm not promoting it. But if you were to take it, I just think that I think you should have already tried therapy, like Megan Fox said she did, already tried psychotherapy and already done shadow work. Like this, you should want to try to fix yourself and do the work yourself. Like some of the trauma that we've experienced as humans, like I've been watching, I'm into like really big, like spiritual leaders and spiritual ascension. And that's going to be more videos that we talk about later. You talk about these spiritual leaders and they say you were born in this world as this like innocent little being, innocent baby. And, you know, you were born without trauma. You didn't have trauma when you were born. However, over time, trauma happened to you. Now, when you were a child, that trauma was not your fault. You didn't cause that trauma no matter what it was, which we've all experienced trauma. However, it's your responsibility as an adult to un-F yourself, right? So, in my opinion, trying to un-F yourself doesn't mean going to the jungle and just taking some tea and calling it good. You need to want to do the work yourself, you need to put some elbow grease into this. If you want to ascend spiritually as a person and you want to be a better person and you want to heal yourself from your trauma, you need to put in some of the work yourself. Even if that's like depression, anxiety, going to a doctor, getting medicated, getting diagnosed, going to therapy. God, I just was in therapy. I just came out of another therapy session. I can't tell you how many times I've been in therapy. Kat's been in therapy. You know what I mean? Like, it's part of just this journey called life. This is a hard planet to incarnate on. And I think that a lot of people are looking for a quick fix, an easy fix, rip the Band-Aid. And I don't know if this is the best decision to do that. And you could have an adverse effect. I'm not the type that would want to hallucinate for 12 hours. Now, as you guys know, since my mom passed away, I have been really, 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 I've leveled up in my spiritualism. Since January, I am in constant communication with my guides, whether that's in dreams or meditation. You wouldn't believe how quickly I can communicate with them. It's unbelievable. And I was never able to do that until my mom died and she started coming to me. And now she's also one of my spirit guides. So she also communicates with me. So I went into a dream the other night and I told Kat, I said, I'm going to ask my guides about this, about ayahuasca. Because I was reading about it and I was like, if this is such a spiritual thing, do I need to go do it? You know, like, seriously.
Oh my God.
I did ask Kat that.
Oh my
I did.
gosh. I know you did.
I did. I said, and it wasn't like, and I was still on the fence of like yes or no. So I went into, my sleep and I had a meditative sleep with my guides. And I said, guides, is ayahuasca something I need to experience? And before I could even finish asking the question, they said no. And then I said, what is it that they experience? Like, I want to know, is it spiritual ascension? Seriously, is it spiritual ascension? Is it an entity? What is it? And the only word that they gave me was hallucinations. And that's all they would say. They wouldn't say anything else. So I do feel like it's also within your mind of your mind's perception. So when I'm saying that, I mean, it's sort of like the placebo effect, right? And once again, I'm not saying that ayahuasca is not real. I think she's real. I think that absolutely, I'm indigenous. I believe she's real. But what I am saying is, if you're going to an ayahuasca retreat and you believe that that tea will heal you, it will in fact heal you.
Yeah.
Now, once again, through hallucinations, whatever else, whatever, it's up to you, however you believe it. But it's like the placebo effect. If you also believe you're going to do your shadow work, which Kat and I have done years of shadow work, we've done years of therapy, group therapy, you name it. I'm not, and honestly, that's the other thing I wish people would understand is when you're healing your trauma, it is a lifelong process, bro. Like it's never going to just end. Like I've done shadow work and it's never going to end. It's going to continue to pop up for the rest of my life. You just learn to live with your shadow self. You don't heal your shadow self. It doesn't go away. You merge with it. And I mean, I'm still going through it now with my mom being murdered. I'm having a whole new level of shadow work that I'm having to deal with. And that's something I know I'll be fighting for the rest of my life. And I'll never heal from it. In fact, trauma like that, when someone's murdered in your life, the old version of me that you used to know, she died in January. She is dead and gone. That Krystal is gone and she is not coming back. Anyone that knew me before January of 2022, she is dead. Taylor Swift style. Can't come to the phone right now. She is dead. It's true. She died when my mom was murdered, period. She's gone. In fact, I don't even know who the new person is yet. I am still merging with my new self. And I think that's also part of trauma, is learning that over time, even through trauma, yes, you have the rain, but then you have the rainbow. Meaning the rain is my past self and the rainbow is my future self. When we live on this planet, we have 20 million different versions of ourselves that we have to learn to merge with and grow with over time. And I don't think even if you are, you have Megan Fox who said she's done therapy and psychotherapy and that's why she went to do this treatment, was to see if it would help her. But then the second night she goes into the depths of hell for 12 hours. She's like, nope, I'm good. I'll live with my trauma. You know what I mean? Like, But so my point is like, I don't know what's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work for you or not. I guess it's a personal journey. You're going to have to figure out if it's something you want to deal with or not. Personally, for me, I don't do drugs. There's no way in hell I would ever try this. There's no way I would be in fear for my life tripping out for 12 hours. And what I would see, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
You said no.
No.
Yeah.
That's no. I couldn't do it. And it's not for sake of not wanting like help. You know what I mean? Like it's just not for me.
Well, also like you said, going to the middle of a forest sounds really scary too.
That's just deadly. That's like a death wish.
Also,
honestly.
do people like hallucinate and then go to leave and they get lost? I'm sure that's happened somewhere. Right?
Honestly, I'd just be afraid of like being eaten by something in the jungle because I feel like that would just happen. I feel like because the walk to get to even like in the documentaries wasn't one of the places like 3 miles away or something, like walking.
Trek in, yeah. You
once
had
they
to,
got on land.
the boat first, then you had to trek in another like 3
and
to 5
then you have to walk it, literally, and it's just like a no path in the middle of the jungle.
Also, can you imagine leaving the retreat, no sleep, hallucinating for a week, and having to walk 3 miles back to the boat? Woo! Jesus.
With my insides on fire, literally.
With no toilet paper for a week. Your butthole is raw from using the leaves, you know?
Everything burns. Everything is on fire. Like, literally. Okay?
I can't.
I hope one of the animals
God.
takes me out. Okay? Because
At this point, where's the crocodile? Okay, at this point, I will feed myself to the crocodile. Okay.
I kid. But also, I don't know.
Do they sell hemorrhoid cream on the island? You know what I mean? You never know if you're gonna need it. Like, I'm just saying.
Honestly, there probably is an herb for that. I mean, realistically, there probably is an herb for that.
Woo! Okay.
Maybe that's my green witchy self coming out. It's fine.
I'm coming off the ayahuasca boat now. So yeah, I think that covered it. It's interesting. It's fascinating. If you know what I mean.
That's the tea.
I had
Get it?
That's the diarrhea tea. I had no idea it was such a thing. Did you?
No. Thank goodness we researched this stuff. Because, oh my god.
I didn't.
Can you imagine if we went to a retreat, Krystal?
No, okay, that's the truth. If you guys want to know the truth, is that we started seeing these things pop up about it. Not that, by the way, we didn't know it was DMT. We didn't know it was, like Kat said in the beginning. We thought know. No, she thought it was mugwort. We thought it was mugwort, something similar to mugwort.
Something like mugwort.
Which is very witchy, yeah. And so when Kat...
It is, and it's hallucinogenic.
It is. Yeah, but you're also not supposed to take a frick ton because it can make you sick too. Which, no, I have not taken mugwort, by the way. But anyway, Kat and I were like, oh my God, like, what is this? Like, is this... And then, you know, she's Hispanic Indigenous, I'm regular Indigenous of Native American Indigenous, and we're both like, should we go to this retreat? Like, this sounds like this cool spiritual experience. Like, you're with people that are like having spiritual, like, ascension. Like, that was where this conversation started. Dead serious. Dead serious. Like, Kat and I were like, I think like, we were talking about, oh, let's take another trip to Sedona. Or should we go, like, maybe we should do something crazy. Like, let's do this ayahuasca trip. And then Kat was like, well, maybe we should research it. And all of a sudden we were like, well, that wasn't quite what I expected
glad we did that. Glad we did it.
No, but it's true. How many
day,
people
literally.
go down there blindly and not know what they're getting into? I bet a lot of people do.
I feel like if that happened to me, I would feel like I'm in the middle of like some weird culty nightmare movie where like everybody is just in a circle.
That's
like,
a good point.
bad.
You watched another documentary. I didn't, and you said it felt very cult. You were watching it. You said it felt very cult.
It felt culty. I'm not saying that the indigenous peoples there are culty. I'm just saying that the group with the white man, another white man, by the way. It just seemed a little culty to me. Like, people getting in a circle, drinking tea together, they're all getting sick. I'm just think about just, like, occult.
And you're paying money
scary.
to throw up. You're paying
And
money. Yeah.
you're paying money to get sick and to drink tea that makes you vomit before you have like, it's just.
Are you saying that it sounded like Heaven's Gate?
Without-
Is that what you're saying?
I'm just, yeah. But that was before knowing, like, the actual legitimate spiritual experience you can have, not just on the basis of what social media is saying to go out and go do it and go try it. This is not. This is
Oh my God.
level shit.
Kat and I
okay?
show up to Costa Rica and like we get all this information and we're like, well, we just wasted 10 grand. We're leaving now.
Can you guys imagine if we vlogged that? Like, no.
No, well, okay, and here's another thing Kat and I said, too, because, okay, this is interesting, cause we're almost done, by the way. Sorry, this was a fun stream, though. This was fun. I do love history, and I do love culture, and that's really the basis of this, you know what I mean? And then we love spiritualism. But, we were talking, we watched the Playboy Bunny, what was that documentary? If you guys haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's on A&E, right?
Yep.
What was it called? The Playboy Diaries or something? Anyway, it was basically about all these ex-Playboy bunnies that they were living in the house and like horrible Secrets of Playboy. It was all this traumatic stuff that happened, which I wasn't really familiar with. The Girls Next Door. I never watched it. I was in like 7th grade when it came out. And I wasn't allowed to watch it. I was not allowed to watch that. Like, my mother was like, you're not allowed. I think she was scared I was going to get, like, ideas. Like, my daughter's blonde. I don't want her flying to, like, Los Angeles, But so
my mother would call it smut. That's smut.
What's smut? What is that? Is it, like trashy? Is that what that?
Just, like, trash. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I never knew the Playboy side. I was just too young for when it was, like, in the 90s, you know what I mean? When, like, it looked glamorous with, like, the Pamela Anderson side and stuff. But anyway, a lot of these girls were saying that Hugh Hefner would just hand them pills, like, literally handfuls of pills, and they would just take them. And that was where the conversation started, too, is, like, Kat, I would never just take pills somebody handed me, ever. And then they would end up, like, knocked out. And I'm not saying that it's the victim's fault, for God's sake, if you got raped. But I'm just saying I would never just take pills somebody handed me. And that's sort of like the ayahuasca thing. Is like, I don't think I would just take something somebody hands me without knowing what's in it. I feel like that's, like, well, unless you want to, like, possibly die. Like, it could kill you. Who knows what it is?
It's scary. That's really scary to think about, especially when you're in a really isolated location like that. It just makes you wonder.
Who makes it out? Yeah, who makes it out? Yeah, I know. I have the same question too. And it's something we're never going to know. You're never going to get statistics on that.
I don't want to know.
Well, you don't know. But if they did release information like people dying from ayahuasca or like, parasites or allergic reactions, they're not going to release it because they're going to be afraid people won't come down to take it. So then they're going to lose out on that money, especially if you have celebrities like MGK and Megan Fox paying a lot of money to go to these places. Am I right?
Well, yeah, and I feel like they're so out of the way. I feel like there are a lot of places that are protected. You know what I mean?
True. So, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you can't get in trouble if you go past a certain state line.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of those situations.
They protect the community.
No touch you.
Yep. They protect the community. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, it's just...
Makes you wonder if that's how people disappear, like people going to Costa Rica and disappear.
It's true, but like even Megan Fox said that she thought it was going to be like glamping.
Yeah.
And then she just ended up in the middle of the jungle. I'm like, I would be in shock. Honestly, I would probably, if I saw the boat that, we had to go on to go and experience that, I'd probably be like, I'm going home.
Yeah.
We're going home.
I know, it's interesting. It makes you wonder if people have a hard time saying no, which is also part of ascension and learning, like, boundaries. Like, it's okay to say no.
I just feel like, too, she might have just been putting her and him in danger because they're very high
profile
figures.
Yeah.
Why would you go into, like, a random group of 20 people? Of course they're going to know you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you put yourself in that position to also be uncomfortable? Like, what if something happened? What if you had a stalker fan or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think that was a very wise decision on her part for a lot of reasons, but I'm not her, so she made that choice.
Personally, I don't want to go to
That's
hell for
okay.
12 hours and I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? I think I've lived enough trauma that I don't need to go back to hell. You know what I'm saying? So
It's true. Oof. Gosh.
It's
just
true.
crazy. Yeah. So use your discernment. Use your discernment.
yeah, and
sure.
I'm not promoting it, but you do you, and
Nope.
I would not try it, and you do you, and I respect it. And if you're messing with Mother Earth as a white male, ooh, good luck. Let me know how that goes for you, because the planet's getting slowly destroyed, and now you're gonna hallucinate with Mother Earth. Ooh, that sounds rough. Woo! You
She
know,
gonna have some things to say.
Yeah.
Is all I'm gonna say about that.
yeah, and I believe it. I believe she's real. I believe it exists. So anyway, I hope you guys learned something from this. This was a fun stream. This is hilarious. It was fun to
This
do.
was fun. We always go off on tangents. It's fun.
It is, and I love learning about culture. I respect culture. I love culture. My mom always was really into like cultural stuff. So it's fun to learn about all these tribes and all these places. And yeah, just be smart with whatever you do. And I feel like that's more than just this. It's just in life in general, like life daily decisions. Just be safe, right? Like just be safe and think and research things before you just show up in a jungle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, basic.
The worst part is though, is you may not be able to research it till you get there to experience it. So that's kind of scary too. You know what I mean? So just interesting.
Why would you spend so much money and not like I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just human brain. I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it.
Well, I think it was like you and I in the beginning where we were just like, oh, let's just go on this experience. And then we were like, whoa, wait a minute. It may not be exactly what you thought it was. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next week is Elfie. I think we have an occult talk next week. She's really into her occultist and I love it. I don't remember who we're working on with next week, but it'll be good. Elfie always finds the weirdest history and it's like I just love listening to her. You know what I mean? Make sure you guys are following us on TikTok. So much bathroom humor. Sorry about that.
I'm not sorry. It's hilarious.
I'm just saying.
We all go to the bathroom.
Just paint a picture. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that was too much of a picture. You know?
I mean, there's really no other way around it. How else do you talk about pooping yourself?
You know?
It's just a bodily function, y'all. It's okay.
Just I guess the last piece of advice if you go on one of these retreats is pack Depends and some extra toilet paper. That's all. Maybe some Tums. Is it like can you imagine getting up in the middle of the ceremony, ask the shaman,
and a trash bag.
"Do you have any Tums, sir? I just need some Tums really quickly."
I'm dead.
Girl, Tums are not going to help you at this point, okay? Like, you are on your own with Goddess, okay? Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Make sure, Goddess Ayahuasca, make sure you guys download this stream. It should be available by tomorrow on all platforms, including Spotify, iTunes. Kat, Elfie, congratulations on all of your stream downloads. We are kicking butt on all of the streams. It's amazing. People love Kat and I talking about our strange poop tangents. And like I said, follow us on social media. Please, TikTok is kicking butt. Make sure you guys engage with as much of our content as you can so that you help us grow. I was hoping this week.
We're back from the dead. Back from the dead. Back from the dead.